In a village cradled by emerald rice paddies, nestled far from the city's hum, stood a small bamboo hut with a roof of palm leaves. This was home to a family of 3, a husband, his wife, and their 10-year-old son Leanne. Their world was the forest, their life dictated by its rhythms. From the first hint of dawn until the last sliver of dusk, they would venture deep into its green heart, their hands searching for wild mushrooms and their backs bent digging for precious vines to sell at the small market nearby. The rainy season was their time of plenty. The damp earth, coaxed by the constant drumming of water, would generously offer up clusters of mushrooms. The air, thick with the smell of petrichor, was filled with a quiet hope. During these months, their wicker baskets would brim with earthy treasures. The coins they earned were just enough, a delicate balance, enough for sacks of rice to fill their bellies, enough for oil to keep a small lamp flickering through the dark nights. This was their prosperity, humble and fleeting. But when the rain ceased and the sun baked the earth hard, the forest withdrew its gifts. The vines shriveled into brittle threads, and the mushrooms, once abundant, vanished as if they had never been. The dry season was a time of knowing worry. The family's small savings would dwindle, and they would be forced to borrow money from neighbors, the debt a heavy stone in their pockets. Sometimes, they found work in others' fields, their labor traded for a handful of rice. Survival was a constant, quiet struggle, a patient endurance of hardship. Lean, their son, carried a dream in his heart, a dream as bright and distant as the moon. He longed to go to school, to hold a book in his hands, to wear a clean, crisp uniform. But his dream was a luxury they could not afford. The cost of books and a uniform was a mountain they could not climb. His mother, her face etched with a love as deep as the forest, would often stroke his hair and whisper, "One day of mushrooms means rice for a year." It was a family saying, a sliver of hope they clung to, a belief that a single fortunate day could change their destiny. One morning, under a sky the color of pearl, they walked deeper into the forest than ever before. The usual paths gave way to tangled undergrowth. The air grew cooler, the trees taller, their canopies a dense ceiling that filtered the sunlight into shifting patterns on the forest floor. It was in this ancient, untouched part of the woods that they found it. Perched on the decaying trunk of a fallen giant was a cluster of mushrooms unlike any they had ever seen. Their caps shimmered with an otherworldly glow, their shape intricate and rare. They knew with a certainty that made their hearts pound, that these were the legendary mushrooms whispered about in market tales, a treasure that could fetch a price that would not just feed them for a year but could change their lives forever. Enough for a sturdy house, enough for Lean's schooling, enough for a future free from the constant shadow of hunger. But this treasure was not easily claimed. It lay on the far side of a river, swollen and furious from recent downpours. The water churned and roared, a brown, muscular torrent that could swallow a person whole. The crossing would be treacherous, a dance with death. And beyond the river, the forest was wilder, home to creatures that did not welcome human footsteps. The growl of a hidden predator, the hiss of a snake, these were the guardians of the forest's deepest secrets. The family stood at the river's edge, the roar of the water filling their ears, the shimmering prize just out of reach. The husband looked at his wife, his eyes asking a silent, heavy question. She looked at her son, at the hopeful light in his young face, a reflection of the dream she held for him. Would they risk everything, their very lives, for this one chance to break free from the grip of poverty? Would they brave the raging river and the unseen dangers for a dream of a better tomorrow? Or would they turn back, returning to their quiet, patient struggle, their lives forever bound to the whims of the seasons? Nature, which had always been their provider, now stood as a formidable threat. The choice before them was a chasm on one side, the familiar hardship they knew. On the other, a perilous path to a life they could only imagine. The forest held its breath, waiting for their decision. Thank you so much for watching. What do you think they should do? Let us know in the comments below. If you enjoyed this story, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe to our channel for more content like this. We appreciate your support. See you next time.